Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Maleficent 2, Mistress of Evil. So Maleficent 2 picks up where the 5 years ago sequel left off the story, with Maleficent finally coming to peace with who she is, her and Aurora forming a very strong mother and daughter relationship, and this one picks up after that when Aurora is asked by Prince something, I don't know who it is, to get married. And she says yes, but Maleficent has a bit of a problem with it as she has some feuds with the people who are the parents of the son. And in this discovery and in this separation of the two, Maleficent learns a lot about her own kind. So I was not really looking forward to this movie because, in all honesty, I wasn't a big fan of the first one. It does bring back some fond memories because it was around the time when I started reviewing, around 5 years ago, when I was 11. So it's really nice to kind of revisit that kind of time in my life when I first started reviewing movies. But even then, when I had a view where everything that was a movie was awesome, I was bored by the first Maleficent. Honestly, I thought that while the attempt to try to take a villain and make that the center of the story is an interesting concept, I thought that the people behind Maleficent just really didn't have a clue how to do it. And that continues in this movie. The idea of morality, the idea of which side people are on, it flips back and forth so much that honestly it kind of just gives you a headache. It's very confusing how this movie chooses to represent itself and the way that it chooses to represent their characters. Maleficent particularly, even though at the end of the last movie, the first one, she was officially a good guy, she starts off this one and still has some very evil tendencies. Then she acts super hateful to everybody at the castle. Then she leaves and suddenly she's this knowledgeable, learning person. It's just very weird characters, and I honestly, as an actor, kind of have a hard time wrapping my head around how the actors would be able to perform these roles that are constantly hopping in and out. And I think a large part of that is the writer of this film and not knowing how to write the dialogue to fit the characters' motivations well. And honestly, none of that would even matter if this movie was able to deliver on the mythical side that often drives movies like this. Lord of the Rings, those movies are awesome for technical reasons, but the reason everybody loves them and the reason that they're so well regarded is because of the way that it transports you into this magical, mystical world. A lot of people describe comedies as, if a comedy is terrible, as long as it makes you laugh, there is at least a redeeming quality about it that will make it worthwhile. Same thing with horror movies. If it's a bad movie but it genuinely scares you, then it's a worthwhile movie. Same thing with mystical movies or mythology movies that have interesting worlds. As long as your world is interesting and as long as you have interesting mythology, your movie will succeed. And Maleficent has none of that. All of the mythology is very much unexplored. All of it is constantly hopping all around. And as I mentioned earlier, the actors have a very impossible task here with morality and how to do their characters, but even then, the performances are really, really bad. I think that everybody in here is a good actor, especially Elle Fanning. She's such a great actress, but in this movie, it honestly just seems like she has nothing to do. So in the end, Maleficent just kind of feels like a pointless movie. It feels like it didn't need to come out. It feels like it didn't really further any of the characters. The arc that they went through is the exact same arc as they went through in the first movie, especially with Maleficent. It's the same exact arc. Enjoy the human world more. Not every single human is a bad person. So there's not a whole lot of things that are interesting about this one. It really is just a completely unnecessary sequel that nobody asked for, nobody wanted, but it came out anyways. I will give Maleficent, Mistress of Evil a 4 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for Maleficent 2. So, what are your thoughts on this film, or what were your thoughts on the first Maleficent movie? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.